This is an electric car from Hyundai, but not one that gets its power from a battery pack. No, this car gets its power from a hydrogen fuel cell. Yeah, you hear it right. This car runs on hydrogen. And I think, together with the Toyota Mirai, it's one of the few mass production hydrogen cars in the world actually. Hello there monsters and men, ladies and people, and welcome to Recharging. This is the Hyundai Nexo. So before we're going to talk about the important stuff, let's have a look at the outside and the inside a little bit. So as you can see, it is a big SUV. I thought it was as big as a Hyundai Tucson, for example, but it's actually bigger than that. It's somewhere between a Tucson and a Santa Fe. So again, big family car. I do like the looks of this car. It is futuristic, but not that goofy, unlike, for example, a Toyota Mirai, because I don't really like that. This car looks great, especially in this color. Love it. So let's have a look at the back seats. There are retractable door handles with a proximity key, so that's always fancy and pretty nice. If we open up the back seats, well, the seat in front of me is in my typical driving position. I am 1.85 meters. Loads of knee room, loads of headroom. People taller than me will sit here just fine. If the persons are a little bit smaller, you can sit here with 3 persons quite easy because there's almost no hump in the floor. So enough space for your whole family. What about the boot space? Is that big enough for your whole family? Let's have a look. There is an electric tailgate. It will open up. They're always a little bit slow, but it is fancy. So if we put away the boot cover, you will actually see a boot space of 461 liters. And if you put down the rear seats, you will have a boot space of more than 1100 liters. So again, enough space for your whole family. So let's have a look under the bonnet actually. So if you open it up, what you might expect is a frunk or fruit. But no, what you will see is the hydrogen fuel cell that's under here. This one is already around 10% smaller than the previous one. So it's actually this little compartment here. It is not bigger than a regular internal combustion engine. So how does it work in dummy language? Well, hydrogen is being stored in tanks under the boot. Those tanks can store an amount of 6 kilograms of hydrogen. That hydrogen is being transferred into the fuel cell, and together with air that is being sucked in, and actually 99.9% of the microparticles in the air is filtered by this car. That hydrogen will react with that air in this hydrogen fuel cell. That will produce electricity. That electricity goes to the motor or actually to the battery pack. Yeah, there is a small battery pack in this car. And why is that necessary? Well, the hydrogen fuel cell cannot deliver enough energy when you want peak performance. So when you put down the accelerator and you want to accelerate as fast as you can, the fuel cell cannot deliver enough energy. So the battery will assist the hydrogen fuel cell by delivering that energy. So what is the leftover product of the hydrogen fuel cell? Well, not more than water and clean air. So that's actually pretty cool, because when you drive along with this car is sucking in air. It filters 99.9% of all the microparticles, and that air is coming out of this car. So that means, while driving with this car, the air coming in is dirtier than the air coming out. So basically, this is a huge air filter, and you can also move around in it. So that's really awesome. So let's have a quick look at the front interior of the Hyundai Nexo. And the first thing that comes into my mind while seeing this is big Kona. Why big Kona? Well, you also have this floating center console. It looks the same. A lot of buttons do look familiar. Also, the layout on the steering wheel is exactly the same. So overall, yeah, it does look like my Hyundai Kona, only bigger. What looks better though in my Kona is the center console, but because here it just feels like they smashed all the buttons up here, and in the Kona it's a little bit more ordered, a little bit more clustered. I don't really like it. It looks a little bit messy. Quality wise though, build quality is very good. Material wise, it's maybe not what you expect from a car at this price point. Don't get me wrong, the materials being used are okay, but I do understand that you pay for the tech that is under there. What about the multimedia system then? Multimedia system is actually pretty good. It has this very large screen. I wish I had this. It is responsive. You can control it with this rotary dial. It is also touchscreen. Again, it is responsive. It is fast. It actually works pretty well. It has Android Auto. It has an Apple CarPlay. It has everything that you expect from this kind of car. Then you also have a display in front of the driver, a digital display. That one is okay. It's not as big as I would like it to be because there are two really big gouges. Is that the word? Gouges? I don't really know. Anyway, there's a huge thing here for your hydrogen level in the tanks and a huge thing here for the temperature of your cooling water. I mean, just make the screen bigger and implement it somewhere in the screen. Now, yeah, it is okay. It is okay enough, but I would have liked it to be bigger. Any more features now? It has a Corel audio system, so that's actually pretty good. And it also has, if you go to the view here, you might see it. No, we don't. Do we see it now? No, because we're not in reverse. Just put it in reverse then. It has a 360 camera, so that's also... man, I've seen it once and I really like this feature, especially while parking, for example. You see everything. It's also a pretty detailed view. I really like it. Yeah, it's actually pretty good in here. So we're driving now with the Hyundai Nexo, and let's talk about a few numbers first. This car has a 161 horsepower motor and it has almost 400 Newton meters of torque. With that it can do 0 to 100 in 9.5 seconds, which is fast enough. That's not the reason why you buy this car. It has a top speed of 180 kilometers an hour, which is again quick enough because that's not the reason why you buy this car. The reason that you buy this car is maybe the range, because on one full tank of hydrogen this car can actually drive 600 to 700 kilometers. So it has a range of 600 to 700 kilometers. Only the top Tesla Model S comes that far. I think that has a WLTP range of around 600 kilometers. So that is actually pretty impressive. So how does it drive a hydrogen car? Does it drive different than a battery electric car? Well, the short answer to that is no. I mean, this car still has an electric motor, so it drives exactly the same as a battery electric car. It only gets its energy from a different source. And not completely, because as I said, this car has a hydrogen fuel cell that delivers or that creates energy to feed the motor, but it also has a battery pack for when you accelerate, you need that extra power that the fuel cell can deliver. You get that from a battery pack. That battery pack is actually being charged by the hydrogen fuel cell itself, but also by regaining energy when you're braking. Yeah, this car has regenning. This car will regen energy when you brake. It does not do it as much as, for example, my Hyundai Kona though, because I now have it in regen level 2 and it is not as strong as it is in my Hyundai Kona. I don't know, maybe it's because of a different engine, maybe it's not necessary, maybe it's because the car is heavier by itself. I don't really know that, but again, it's not that strong as with my car. So actually driving around in this car is a really comfortable experience. I mean, you have the same drivetrain as an electric car, so you have the very smooth and linear acceleration. Also, the suspension of this car is really comfortable. This car is not made for any sportiness driving at all. Also, the steering is heavy but does not have a lot of feeling. What is fun though while driving, well, I find it fun, is to have this graph open. And what it shows you, it has 4 components actually. It has motor, fuel cell, your hydrogen tank, and also the battery. And what it will tell you is when the motor gets powered by the fuel cell. So now I'm driving steadily at a steady speed. Then the motor is being powered by the hydrogen cell. There's actually a car coming there, but if we put my foot off the accelerator, you will see that it goes from the motor to the battery again. So it's regenning. If you floor it, you will see that the battery is supporting the fuel cell to actually power the motor. So it's actually very nice, and it's changing every time. So it's really a play of everything together. It's a really, really cool piece of tech actually. What is also cool, if we go back, we have this eco driving menu. Then you have 2 things. Well, of course your consumption, which again goes in kilograms. Hydrogen goes in kilograms. So this car has done on average 100 kilometers on 1 kilogram of hydrogen. I think that's pretty efficient. The owner of this car actually wants to go to 0.9 or maybe 0.8 to just have that little extra of efficiency. But what is more cool, at least I find it more cool, let's go to this menu here. What you will see over here though is the CO2 reduction that you have done with this car in your current trip. So this current trip has been going on for 52 kilometers. I don't know when it has been reset. And I've actually saved 7.5 kilograms of CO2. And what's even more funny, because I said that this car is basically cleaning the air as it is driving along, on those 52 kilometers we have cleaned as much as 31.9, so 32 kiloliters of air. And that is the same amount as 2 human beings breathe, adult human beings breathe, per day. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? So we have cleaned the air for 2 adults. Maybe for me and my girlfriend, or for someone else. We make the air cleaner as we drive along in this car. I think that is amazing. So a really cool feature about this car, it's a self-parking feature. So how does it work? You come to a car park or somewhere else where you can park. You stop the car, you press this button over here, and what will then happen, you have to drive slower than 20 kilometers an hour, and then the car will search for parking spots. So we drive along here, here are cars parked, here's a spot, so it should find it. Let's hope that it does. It does, yeah. It sees that you can only park at this way in a parking spot, so the only thing that you have to do is press this button, and then you have to hold the parking button again. Take your foot off the brake, and magic things will happen. It will park for you. Of course, you have to watch out that you don't hit anything. The car will look out for itself, but you have to watch for pedestrians and all that, and all those kind of things, cyclists. And look at this! The car is parking for you. It's amazing. I'm not touching the steering wheel at all. I'm not touching the gas or the brake or anything. It does it all for you. Between the lines, pretty slowly, pretty careful. Control the area for your safety. I am. It's beeping. It's going back. It's going forward to actually set you between the lines. It goes backwards by itself. It does it so well. I'm amazed by it, how well it does it. And there you go, it's parked. How cool is that? But something is even cooler. So the car has found the same spot as before. It's beeping, that is good. I put the car in park. And what I have to do now is just hold the button on the remote. And magic things will happen. It's parking. It's doing things. There's watch that he's not hitting the car. You still have to watch it yourself. Just release the button and it will stop. But look at this is amazing. Sorry, I'm almost speechless. That's how awesome this is. It's parking. It's not really between the lines, so it will probably correct itself. It will not. It has parked. Look at that. That's amazing, right? So the car has parked itself pretty closely to the car right beside it, and it's quite tricky to get out without damaging a door. So what you can do then, again, is hold this button right here on the key to start the car, and what you can then do is move it forward or backwards when you want to. So I'm holding the button now, the forward button, and it's coming to me. It's coming, it's coming. Yeah, it's going slower because it detects me. And there you go, you can get in without any troubles. How cool is that? So here we are, standing at one of the main reasons why people want hydrogen to replace fossil fuels. Because we are currently standing at a hydrogen fuel station. And instead of having to charge your electric car for 25, 30, maybe 35 minutes to drive another 300 kilometers, you actually fill up your car here, and with the Hyundai Nexo you can drive another 600 kilometers. There are currently only 3 public hydrogen fuel stations in the Netherlands. I know they are expanding it, and this year they want, at least they have the goal to have more than 12 of these stations all around here, and it will expand even more. But it is a little bit of the chicken and the egg, and I think hydrogen fuel stations need to be there first before people are going to buy hydrogen cars. But anyway, let's fill up the Hyundai Nexo. I've never done this before, so let's check it out. It looks a lot like a regular fossil fuel pump. So you take this one, it's actually 700 bars, so that is a lot. So here is the nozzle. The only thing that you have to do is place that on there. Then you click it like this. It's properly attached. And I think the only thing left remaining is pay. So, okay, I paid. You hear things going, magic things are happening. Oh, we have to press start, of course. Start, there we go. Do it. And again, as I already said, it goes by kilograms and not per liter. And actually, it is, how much is it for 1 kilo of hydrogen? This, at least in the Netherlands, is €9.99. So 10 euros for 1 liter, for 1 kilogram, sorry, of hydrogen. So that means filling up this tank will cost you about 60 euros. Okay, so the car is now full of hydrogen again. We have fueled 3.5 kilos of hydrogen. The start button is not blinking anymore, so that means we can press stop. And then we can dismount this, I think. So, oh man, this is really, really cold. The owner also said that sometimes, because of the humidity now, some ice can be formed on the nozzle. That's how cold it is. It's crazy. So put it like this, take it out, and there you go. As easy as refueling with an internal combustion engine car. So I've been driving around all day now with this car, and you probably want to know my opinion about hydrogen electric cars. And if you don't, you can skip the next few minutes, probably 2 or 3, because I will give it anyway. But my initial thought is that, well, you take a lot of electricity, you create hydrogen from it, because creating hydrogen is a very energy intensive process. You create hydrogen, store it in this car, create electricity from that, and then power the motor. So it's a lot more efficient to take that initial energy that you create hydrogen with, put it in, I don't know, a battery, and feed the motor that way. Again, it's a lot more efficient if you do it that way. Then people say, yeah, but you can create hydrogen from excess energy. So that means today is a very hot and sunny day. So maybe more solar power is being generated than is being used. So that means you can use that electricity to create hydrogen, store the energy that way, and then use it to power this car. And I'm really in favor of that. Don't get me wrong. If you do make hydrogen, do it that way. Again, I'm really in favor of that. But it's still not the most efficient way. Then also people say, yeah, but well, creating a battery pack also needs a lot of electricity and is not the most environment friendly process either. I agree, it is not, and it should be better. But this car also has a battery pack, so it still needs that process. And I think creating a fuel cell also needs some rare materials and stuff, so it's also not the most environmental friendly thing either at the moment. So there are a lot of cons and pros to do hydrogen or to do battery electric car. And most people that I speak that are in favor of a hydrogen car instead of battery electric is they don't want to charge. They don't want the charging. So apparently those people are robots that can drive, well, with this car 600 kilometers, fuel it up in 5 minutes and drive another 600 kilometers. I know I can't. I mean, a Tesla Model 3, for example, has a range of 500 kilometers, something like that, 400 to 500. So you drive that, you have been driving for 3 to 4 hours, you have to charge it. It charges fast, 20-25 minutes, and you're good to go for 80%. So then you can drive another 300 kilometers, something like that. So around 3 hours, maybe 2.5, you need to stop for 20 minutes. Is it that bad? You probably do it anyway to pee or to eat, so I really don't get that argument. Maybe it's because I'm used to an electric car, but again, I think that is a non-argument. And well, the thing is, and this is what makes it difficult. At the moment, The battery tech and charging infrastructure is way ahead of hydrogen, but we don't know what the future will bring. I mean, there's a lot of things happening in the renewable tech space. Maybe next year there will come a breakthrough of creating hydrogen. We can do it really efficient and then hydrogen cars will take off. Or maybe next year we will get a breakthrough in battery tech. Then there comes a battery that can store a lot more energy, so the batteries can be smaller, or cars can travel a lot further and they can be charged in maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Then we go with battery tech. The thing is, we don't know. There's a lot of things happening. And again, we don't know what will happen in the future. I do think that these two techs will actually live together side by side. How I see it now is that I think that the battery electric cars will do these types of vehicles, just the vehicles we use from day to day, and that hydrogen cars will take over for the trucks, for the buses, for the lorries, and for the bigger vehicles that need to drive a lot further, so they don't need the 400, 500, 600 kilowatt hour battery pack. So yeah, there you have it, my opinion, but it all comes out to what will the future bring. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Hyundai and other companies should still invest in this technology. It's a very interesting technology, and I'm very curious where it will end up. Will we end up with hydrogen? Will we end up with battery electric? Will we end up with both? Again, very curious. At the moment, it's battery electric tech, but again, I do really think that companies should invest in both, and that's why I'm really happy that Hyundai and Toyota are doing that. So the sun is going down on, well, it was actually quite a hot day, but it's almost time to return this car to its owner. And I'm actually very happy that I had the opportunity to drive this car, to drive, well, this awesome piece of technology, because that's what it is, to have a taste of it. And I really think that Hyundai, Toyota and other companies should keep developing hydrogen cars, because who knows what the future brings. I don't know, you don't know, we all don't know. So yeah, that was actually really awesome. And I'm not the only one who was able to drive this car, because this car is from a hydrogen enthusiast, and he's actually lending this car to other people to hopefully give that enthusiasm to somebody else. So that's actually pretty cool. So if you're also as enthusiastic as him, and now also as me, well, please check out the link in the video description, because there's a link to his website. So I want to say to you, thank you very much again for lending me this car. And that's all that we had time for today. So if you like this video, please give a like and subscribe. And if you did not, please leave a comment below to see what I can improve. And then I would like to say now, as always, thank you a lot for watching, and to be continued.